Today, we're going to talk to the America's #1 money mentor, real estate expert, and star of the HGTV show Risky Business. Chris Naugle is on the show. Coming up.
Welcome to the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing Podcast, your source for real-world strategies focused on creating long-term wealth, cash flow, and financial freedom through real estate. Through guidance, tips, and stories of highly successful real estate investors and thought leaders, we provide you the tools to succeed and to reach the lifestyle you always wanted. And now, your host, Dwaine Clarke.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing Show. This is your host, Dwaine Clarke. Today we have Chris Naugle. Chris is a serial entrepreneur who has built and owned 16 companies and currently the CEO and founder of FlipOut Academy, founder of the Money School, and a money mentor for the Money Multiplier. Chris, thank you so much for joining us on the show, and how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, it's really good to talk to another fellow entrepreneur, over there locally here in New York, not too far from me in Connecticut. And just kind of reading through your background, you came up with a humble middle-class background. I understand that's in, is it Buffalo, New York area?
That is correct. Yeah, Buffalo, New York.
Awesome. And as far as kind of like you started, 16 companies, when did that entrepreneurial bug hit you? Can you kind of take us through your journey?
Sure. So it started at 16 years old. I had been working on a farm, funding my dirt bike habit and, paying for fuel. And then at 16, I got a big boy job at a restaurant. But the owner of the restaurant, he degraded me so badly that every day I'd come home, I literally was just going for different levels of depression because I thought I was worthless. I couldn't do anything right. And the day came where I just walked in and I said, you know what? This is it. I quit. And that was the day that I quit trading hours for dollars. I came home. I thought my mom was going to be mad and told her. And I said, I want to start a clothing line in the basement. My only dream as a kid at that point in my life was to be a pro snowboarder. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't need to work at a restaurant. How about if I just sell T-shirts out of my backpack? And when I travel, I create this T-shirt line and I sell it to all the shops that I'm competing, in their contest and see where that goes. And if I can make enough money to pay for my travel and the minor little expenses I had, this will be an awesome experience. And that's where it began.
And as far as kind of, you always talking about, listen to all your videos, you're doing a lot of speaking and just touching a lot of different entrepreneurs. And the main theme is, of course, money. Can you kind of take us through your educational journey as far as money? Because I know it's so important. It is like the root of many divorces, business failures, and people not reaching their true potential. Can you kind of talk about your educational journey and why it's so important for people to learn?
Yeah, I guess I'll walk you through a little bit more of the story. Money didn't really come into my life until the early 2000s. I had, at that time, 2 stores going. I was doing the snowboard thing professionally. And I remember when the planes hit the tower, in the first recession, the dot-com recession. I call it the first recession. It's just the first one I remember as, a young entrepreneur. And I didn't know what it meant. I'm like, okay, the stock market's crashing and everything else. But then my business took a hit. And it took a hit so bad that I had to make a decision. Am I going to go deliver pizzas at night or am I going to go get a job? I didn't know what to do. And I didn't want to hang up, my dream of these shops. So what I did is I put my resume out and I, of all places, this punk snowboard kid that I was back then, I landed Wall Street. I get picked up by a financial firm, and just like every other financial advisor, you start at the bottom and you just kind of climb your way up. But I loved it. And I excelled at it. And I think the best part about that whole thing is because I like that, I spend all my energy, and I've always been type A, and I just go deep into something when I find something I like. And the problem was I still had my shops. So I was forced to work, I used to work in my shops, and now I was forced to work on them. And it was interesting because back then I didn't know that was an important lesson that entrepreneurs need to learn, of not working in their business, working on their business. And I was forced out of the business to work on it, by this dot-com crash, that recession there. And that's how I first started learning about money. As an advisor, I learned about all the traditional senses of money, mutual funds, life insurance, all that stuff. I learned it. And all the way up to 2008, I was excelling. I became one of the top advisors in the firm. And then I dabbled in real estate in 2006, did my first flip, 2007, did another. 2008, I'm like, I got this. I'm making a bunch of money. I bought a dilapidated strip mall, converted it into a 3-unit plaza right in the middle of construction. the Great Recession hit,
Wow.
and it brought me to my knees, and I lost almost everything. Actually, I did lose everything. I didn't go bankrupt because I was one payment away from not being able to pay this hard money lender. I came home, my girlfriend just moved in, and I said, sweetie, I need your help. I need your help paying the mortgage. I need your help paying the utilities. And by the way, my friend Pete is moving into that bedroom down the hall. That's when you know you're pretty close to the bottom, when you literally have nowhere else to turn, but you ask your brand new girlfriend to pay all your bills. Well, I thought she was going to walk out the door, but she didn't. She stuck with it. We now are married, and we have an 8-month-old daughter now. So that's kind of where the whole thing happened. I had this rise up where I was making a bunch of money, and then I lost it all in one swoop moment. And then I had to start figuring it back out. And that's when I dove into real estate. 2009 to 14, I was still snowboarding. I sold my retail shops in 10. And then 2014, I had 36 units that I'd bought. I thought I was doing awesome. It didn't feel like it, but I thought I was. I'm like, I got all this real estate. And then the bank pulled a fast one and said I didn't meet their little box, their debt to income ratio. And they didn't approve the 37th mortgage. They pulled all my credit. They pulled my lines of credit and called one of my mortgages. And that was it.
Wow.
Had to sell all 36 units, had to sell the dream house that me and Larissa had bought. So you can see this pattern, right? I'm walking you through this because as an advisor, you would think, oh my God, you know so much about money.
Exactly.
These things don't happen to you. Folks, I was making a ton of money and I lost it all in 08. I got it all back by 14 and there it was. Just one circumstance, I lost it all. And that's the moment. That was the moment. Like you talk about where you hit the bottom, like you hit down low, man, I hit it head first. I dove straight down to the bottom. And when I did, I had nothing to lose. And I started seeking the truth. And I did it just like you went to one of those 3-day events. You remember that, right? That preview event. And you went to that 3-day we talked about.
Exactly.
I went to one of those. And at that event, it wasn't the same company, but at that event, I'll never forget, I met two people. Okay. Two of the speakers. One had an A&E show, as a TV show, flipping houses. The other was the bank. And I remember listening to them talk and a light bulb went off. Almost a nuclear bomb went off in my mind. And they were talking about money and what they were doing and how they were doing it in a totally different way than I'd ever heard anyone talk about money. And it made all the sense in the world. I didn't fully understand it. And I remember, I'm an advisor, right? I should understand all this. I didn't understand it. But I started questioning every single thing I'd learned about money. And I started saying, if this is something that I don't know, what else do the wealthy know that I don't know? And that's where it began.
Yeah, and I love this story because, I like talking to people who actually went through, dug in the trenches, have experience. I mean, typically you would, see like the advisor where they went to the best school and then they, top of the class and everything went perfect. And that's traditionally where you think that's kind of the best thing to go through. But as entrepreneurs, we constantly are, looking to do things and get involved in things, and sometimes stuff don't work out the way we planned on it. And you having all this up and down, it kind of taught you a lot of stuff, but it also made you prepare for that moment to receive that information. If you were on top of your game and never lost any money, you may have never went to that conference. So that was,
I can tell you, I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing that up. I went to that conference not because I wanted to learn how to flip houses. I went because they were giving away a free iPod shuffles. Truth be told, that is what got me there. I was such at a low point. I just lost everything that I thought was so vital to me, my success. I just had to sell all those. I had to give up literally our dream house. Me and my, she was my fiance, had hard times. Like, I couldn't have ever learned what I know today if it wasn't for the failures, because those failures made me, like you said, be ready to receive, be ready to start seeking the truth. And that's what happened.
And then kind of leading to that, Nate, you had mentioned seeking the truth and finding out what the wealthy do and kind of finding out the tax, which is sometimes not apparent. We'll, see things on TV and think it's like a straight road to it. And then you kind of starting the Money School, I kind of started listening to some of your recordings, and you talk about something interesting that I started to learn, probably think like last year, more and more so, about being your own bank. And then I understand that you are able to, you learned that strategy and applied it to what you know best is the real estate side. Can you kind of explain what is being the bank is, the overall picture, and how you apply it to real estate?
Sure. And this is that stuff that I learned at that seminar from these two guys. They were being the bank, but they were using vehicles that were foreign to me, that I wasn't taught as an advisor, or I wasn't taught to use these vehicles in the method that they were. So being your own bank comes in a lot of shapes and sizes. I mean, people can be their own bank by using loans from their 401k and then paying themselves back. They can use self-directed IRAs. They can use solo Ks. They can use home equity lines, or they can use specially designed and engineered whole life policies, which is the part that really got me, because I'm like, wait a second, all the way up to this point, I've been taught that whole life is a terrible place to put your money.
Exactly.
But all these wealthy people, and remember, I'm just talking about these two, but right after I met them, I signed up for the program, spent money I didn't have, and I started going to masterminds. Back then, this is 14, masterminds were not new, but not like they are today. And I started getting around people that I had no business being around, multimillionaires, billionaires, TV show stars, like actors, all these people at these masterminds. And I remember being an advisor, I was always inclined to talk about money. So I was at this low point, and I just kept asking them the same things. Hey, by the way, when you're using money, like, how are you doing it? How are you raising money? What are you doing with your money? Do you use bank accounts? Do you use stocks? And I developed this pattern. And it was about a half a year to a year time frame. I more than a dozen extremely successful people were all using these specially designed and engineered whole life policies. And you guys might know of it as infinite banking concept, BYOB, like my hat says, which is become your own bank, or privatized banking. They were all using it. And that's where I'm the type of person, I got to see something work, right? Because I'm just kind of that, I don't want to say I'm a negative person, but I'm just that person. I like solving, like if somebody tells me something, I'm like, yeah, but, and then I want to see a pattern. I want to see if it works. So being your own bank is really a process of taking back the banking functions in your life. Quite simply, let me just kind of frame it up this way, and then we'll dive into how I use it in real estate. Because I was a real estate investor through and through. Yes, I was a financial advisor. Yes, I was a pro snowboarder, but I was a real estate investor. That's what I was doing to make the majority of the money at that point. And I needed to find better ways to do it, because that's what sunk me in 2008 and again in 2014. So I wasn't giving up on real estate, even though I'd failed at it twice. I just had to find a better way to do it. And that's where the BYOB, the Become Your Own Bank, came in. And here's the deal. Like, think about this, folks. Like, anyone that's listening to this, I want you to envision this, right? So you put your money where? You put it in bank accounts, you put it in 401ks, you put it in IRAs, you put it somewhere that's not in your control. But you think you're in control because you've been taught this, but you're really not. The bank's in control of your money when you put it there. And if you don't believe that, then in March, when the first COVID, crash started happening, any of you that went to the bank to try to empty your bank account, you learned very quickly that you were not in control.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. You walk into the bank. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Teller, can I take all my money out? Well, no, we're limited to only giving you 3,000. Whoa, I have 150,000 in there. I'd like my money today. I'm sorry, Mr. Naugle, we can't give you your money. Who's in control now? You are not. Okay, so just making a point there, but you're not in control of your money, but you've been taught your whole life to give up control of your money. That's what we've all been taught. So what if you weren't in control of, or what if there was a place where you could put your money and you could be in control of it? Okay, and all you had to do is change one thing. Okay, so here's what the wealthy do. They don't keep their money in banks. They don't keep their money in places where they're not in control. They control their funds and their money. And what they found is, and this goes back to the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds hundreds of years ago, what they did is they started using giant mutually owned insurance companies. Why would you use an insurance company? It's because they hold all the money. They have all the wealth, and they have the best guarantees, and they make the most money because they invest for the longest term. They knew this, and all the wealthy know this today. So what if you just changed where you put your money? You didn't put it in a regular bank. You put it in a bank that you created with an insurance company. Well, most people don't understand what that means. Well, that means a guaranteed 4%. What else does that mean? That means because these companies are mutually owned, they pay you dividends too. So now I'm making 4% on my money. I'm getting a dividend every year, which by 2020, some of the companies are about 6%. But now we got to talk about the control thing. Most people, if they put their money into quote unquote a whole life policy, and these are very different than the whole lives that you all know about. These are specially designed to do banking. So if you put your money in there, you put your money in this whole life policy and then immediately take the money back out. Now, when I say immediately, I mean immediately in the first 30 days. That's how fast you can take your money out.
Wow.
So you put your money there. Now that money's earning 4% plus dividend. But then what if I took that money out and I'm holding the money in my hand, right? Most of you would think if you deposit money in your account, think of a bank account, and you take that money out, you stop earning interest. I just said the insurance company pays you 4% guaranteed. But if I take some or all of that money out, you would think that that money stopped earning interest, but it doesn't. You see, you don't even take your own money out. The insurance company still has your money in your account and they're still paying you interest and dividends, but they give you a loan of your money. They give you a loan against your money. So if you've got 10 grand in the specially designed and engineered whole life, and you take, let's just say 5 grand of it out, right? The 5 grand you took out was not your money coming out like it would be from a bank account. It was the insurance company giving you that money as a loan. But when I say loan, you automatically go into defense. Like, I don't want to take a loan out. I don't want any more debt. But what if I told you that this loan never needs to be paid back? What if I told you that the loan the insurance company is giving you is nothing more than an advance of your death benefit? So that loan, all the insurance company does is move some numbers around on the screen. They take your death benefit, they reduce it by that 5 grand, and all they do is they take your 10 grand and they use 5 of that as collateral. So now you've got a loan that you never need to pay back. Wow. Does the insurance company charge you interest? They do, 5%. But all day long, Mark, no two ways about it. If somebody's paying me 6 and I'm earning 5, I'm taking that deal all day long if I can take my money. Exactly. So now I got 5 grand in my hand, right? Now this is the most important part about being your own bank. And I promise I'm going to get to the point. I got to do something with that, because you've never been to a bank that you've deposited money where the bank just puts your money in that vaults in the back and just lets it sit. It's not how banks work. They take your money and they immediately loan it out in those little glass cubicles behind you, and they make money on the spread. They're paying you 1, they're making 5, right? They're making a 4% spread. That, and you know darn well they make a lot more. Credit cards are banks, just so all of you know. So you got 5 grand. So what do we want to do with this 5 grand? Well, let's talk the simplest thing. Most of you probably have credit cards. We almost all do. And those credit cards charge you between 10 and 24.99%, maybe even higher. So what if we take that 5 grand and we pay off Visa that was charging you 24.99%? I took 5 grand from my specially designed whole life as a loan. Okay. Then they're charging me 5%. And I take the 5 and I pay Visa off. And I take the amount that I used to give Visa every month. Let's call it $200. And that $200 represented 24.99%. I take that 200 and I put it back into my bank. Okay. Instead of giving it to Visa's bank, I put it in my bank. How much money did I just make there? Well, number one, I recaptured 24.99% that I used to give away to somebody else. I now have that. Number two, my banking policy was paying me 6% with dividend. As of, in all transparency, dividends are not guaranteed, but right now, 2021, one of the companies is 6%. So I'm making 6, and I just recaptured 24.99, and I lost 5 in the middle. That's a good day in the office. I saw this for the first time in Salt Lake City, okay, at a cheesecake factory of all places. And when I saw that process, right, that's just a circle. I put money in, I take it out. I pay something off, I take it, and I put it back in. That circle, I saw that. And I was just like, oh my God, I found the Holy Grail. I found it. Wow. So I said, instead of taking that 5 grand out to go pay Visa off, which I like that, I'll do that. But what if I took that 5 grand and I used it to make a deposit on a real estate property? And then I took the rent from that real estate and I put it back in the policy. And I just kept doing that. How fast can I build a rental portfolio? Well, here's the numbers. From 2014 to 2021, me and my wife have flipped 263 houses, largely part because of these privatized banking policies that we created. We use them for almost everything, from rehab to down payments to, heck, wholesaling. We use that on the contract. We use it for the escrow deposit. And every single time when I'm taking money out and I'm putting it into my LLC, I just charge my LLC 6%. I'm charging my company 6%. Why? Because I'm using my bank, and I'm sorry, my LLC would pay somebody else's bank. So why wouldn't it pay me? Same concept. Then I got really smart. Remember that guy I met at that 3-day? That guy said one thing. He said, the ultimate in real estate is being the bank. I never understood it, never fully grasped it until much, much later. Then I said, all right, if doing all this real estate stuff, this is great. Great way to build wealth, but it's a lot of work. Flipping houses is a lot of work. My hair has turned gray from doing it. Not all gray, but so I then said, well, Greg said, be the bank. So now I had some money in these banking policies. And I said, you know what? My buddy, Chris, I shouldn't use that. Let's just say my buddy, Scott. I lend to a couple people. My buddy, Scott, brings me an opportunity and says, Chris, I got this great deal. I'm going to do this, and I got to raise money to do this deal. And I say, well, Scott, how about I'll lend you the money. I'll charge you 12%. You put me in a first lien position. And what I did is I went to my banking policy, clicked the button, took a loan, lent it to Scott. He put his house on the line in form of a mortgage and signed a note. So now I'm secured. And now he's paying me checks every month equivalent to 12% per year. I take those checks, I put them back in my banking policy. Lo and behold, after I do this for a little while, I got a lot of money in there. And I'm just like, okay, well, Scott, you need any more money? No? Damn. All right, Jim, you need some money. Awesome. So I started lending money out. Now, all of a sudden, I started doing a lot of private lending. You see, it's just this natural progression. I don't mean to go down a rabbit hole, but like, folks, there's nothing hard about this. I did the exact same thing the bank does every single day with your money, except for I'm doing it with my own bank. I own the bank, and the bank that I own is nothing more than the silly, stupid, specially designed and engineered whole life. That's it. But it is not the whole life that you bought from your life insurance store. These are totally different. I keep saying that because so many people will hear this, run out to their advisor or their insurance store, buy a whole life and say, I don't know what that Chris guy was talking about. This sucks. This Dave Ramsey was right. These things are awful because you just don't know what you don't know yet.
Wow. Yeah, it's so amazing. You just kind of explaining it is just like kind of eye opening. And like I said, you just happen to learn it just going to this conference. And like I said, it's not like as mainstream out there, because you had mentioned if you go to your financial advisor, they're going to probably poo-poo it and say, don't listen to this guy, just do the traditional route and don't do anything. And it's like, with all of the super wealthy, ultra wealthy, been doing this for hundreds of years or 200 years, I think, or whenever this policy's been around. It's amazing.
Hundreds of years. And I created a video because I had so many people saying, oh my God, Chris, I love what you're saying, but it just sounds too good to be true. Like, is this brand new? I said, no, it's been around hundreds of years. And they all say the same thing. Well, how come I haven't heard about it? So I created a documentary on YouTube that literally takes you back in time and tells you all the people that have used it, from Ray Kroc to Walt Disney to, Buffett uses it differently than I do. But then you got like people like Biden in current world, McCain before he passed, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds. It's all there. But the other thing too that's important to realize is, why haven't you heard about this? That's the first thing I said. I said to myself, I'm a high-level financial advisor. Why haven't I been taught this? I've worked with life insurance companies. How come they didn't teach me this? And it's very simple. And it took me taking my old managing partner out to lunch after I retired from Wall Street. I took him to lunch and I said, hey, John, I said, you know what an infinite banking concept is, right? He said, oh, yeah, I do. And I said, can you just kind of give me a summary of what you know of it? He explained it almost perfectly. He said, it's what the banks do with bully. I said, perfect. I said, why in the 14 years that I was at the firm did you guys never teach this to me? And he says, that's a great question. He said, I got a great answer for it. He says, you know how hard it is for me as a manager to retain agents, right? Everybody's commission based. So the fall off rate is about 90% in the first year, about 80% in the second year. And he goes through this whole thing up to 5 years. He says, after 5 years, I actually have a good chance of keeping these agents because they're making okay money. So he said, then we introduced this thing, this infinite banking concept, using this specially designed whole life to our whole staff, our whole advisory force. And everybody's jazzed up and ready. And they run out and they start telling all their clients about it. And then all of a sudden, they find out that to do these banking policies the way that you're discussing them to work requires them to take a reduction in their commission of 60 to 90%. So now, Chris, I've got all these advisors who are jazzed up about this product that pays them next to nothing, and they're running out there. What do you think my retention rate is now? He said, I don't think I'm going to have anybody in here because they all just made 60 to 90% less. So although we love it, we don't teach this because we can't make any money doing it, and we can't keep agents employed doing this. I said, touche, John. Lunch is on me.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the nail in the coffin for me. Is this? It's always it's something that causes them not to tell us this, and it's like, well, I'm glad that we're doing this podcast. You have the book. It's about the money, and it's like we need to get this out. We can be able to solve a lot of the whole world, or at least America's problem as far as with money and things like that, if these simple things have been taught. And it's just amazing. So I can't believe that. So I appreciate you sharing that. I know we can go even deeper as far as the strategies and things that you're doing and the strategies. But I wanted to kind of ask you regarding your money school. I know that you teach this concept and all the different types of stuff. And what are the other stuff that people can learn from there?
Oh gosh, Money School is all things money. It is the truth about how money works. And the biggest thing I teach at Money School comes down to one simple philosophy. We solve people's money problem. And don't ever, nobody can ever tell me they don't have a money problem, because you know what? That billionaire that I know, he's got money problems. Everybody's got a money problem. And the thing we do is we teach people how to solve it with taking back control of their money. Not by selling. I don't have a product that I'm selling in Money School. I'm teaching people how to be self-sufficient with their money, how to understand how to use their money as a tool to go out there and to make the life they want, to live their perfect day. But so many of us have been taught to give up control of our money and basically not be in control of our money. That's what we've been taught. I teach people how to do the exact opposite and take back control, which upsets some people. Advisors, what I used to be, I upset a lot of them. They don't like me because I'm literally teaching people how to do what they do or what they're trying to help their clients do. And I teach people that you are the best steward of your money. You are the best chance you've got. No one is going to care about your money more than you. And we cover things from self-directed IRA tactics and techniques, how to use 401ks in a more efficient way to get control, how to use HELOCs or what we call hidden equity, how to use these privatized banking policies and build banking systems, BYOB, everything, real estate. We teach a ton. I've written 2 books. I've got a book, The Private Money Guide. You know what? If it's okay at the end, I'll give both of these books away for free to your audience.
Thank you.
Got The Private Money Guide, and I've got the book I wrote with Brent Kessler, my mentor, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. And both of these books really come down to the fundamentals of money and how to use it in your life. But the problem is I'm teaching people how to utilize and control their money, which means I'm teaching them how not to give their money up to everybody else, which, you can look at it 2 ways. Bad for one, good for another. One person's got to give for another person to get. Exactly. Well, I'm the giver.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that. And this part of the interview, I just wanted to kind of ask, I know that you're running multiple businesses, doing a lot of talks, doing a lot of interviews like this. Can you kind of run us through a typical workday for you? And do you have any special morning routines?
I do every morning. Very first thing I do in the morning, most important part of my day. I get down on both knees and I thank God for the day. It's the very first thing I do every day. And that sets me up for the rest of the day. I come in and I Starbucks coffee is a mandatory. Okay, got to make my mandatory stop and get my soy dark roast coffee. So after that, my day consists of being on the phone all day or doing podcasts or doing trainings. On average, I do 5 to 7 trainings every single week, virtually now. I used to do them live, but now it's all virtual. And I help a lot of people take back control of their money. And the funniest thing is, I say it all the time, one of my mentors, Greg Reed, in 14, when I was at that low point, I was at an event that I couldn't afford to be at. It was $5,000 at his house. And I remember pulled him aside. I said, Greg, I need your help. I need, what is the best advice you can give me? And you know what he does? He puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, Chris, I'm going to give you the best advice I can ever give anyone. He said, give your best stuff away for free. I felt like slapping him. I truly did. Like, that's not what I needed then, but it's exactly what I needed. So what I do today is I literally give my best stuff away for free every day. All the stuff that I'm talking about, it's all free. Go to my YouTube, go to my website, chrisnaugle.com. It's all there and it's all free. The only thing that somebody can really pay for with me is they could buy my book, which I'm going to give you for free. I got t-shirts and hats you could buy. And then we've got a 3-day event that we do every month. The Money School Essentials event. It is single-handedly probably one of the most powerful 3-day money events you can ever go to. And it's a whopping $197. And that's about all people can buy from me. Everything else, I just give away for free, teaching people how this works. And the funniest thing is, remember he said that was the best stuff you could do. Well, Zig Ziglar says, if you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. Exactly. And I am wildly successful today, from real estate to money to invest. I do it all. And I make a lot of money, but I give everything away for free. So how do you make a lot of money when you give everything away for free? Because the universe works in a unique way, folks, and you won't understand until you start doing exactly what I just said. And because I do that is why I am successful.
And as far as kind of like your day-to-day, as far as kind of like any tools or resources that you use, communicate with your team or things like that to help you make you more productive during the day.
Oh, yeah. So, Zoom is a huge thing. We're on Zoom all the time. We use StreamYard a lot. I'm huge on social media. Not that I like Facebook, but I use the heck out of it. Instagram, I'm doing lives, doing posts. I have a whole digital media team that works with me here, all on staff. So those are the tools are really just technology. and we use lots of technology. I read a lot of books. I try to read at least a chapter in a book every day. It doesn't always happen with a 7 or 8 month. Well, she's almost 8 months old, but that made it tough. So, but my day, here's the problem with me. I'm an A-type personality. I'm a giver. And my days are like 12 to 15 hours. It wears me out. It like brings me, it brings me to a humbling place every day because I'm just physically exhausted. But those are my days. And when you're fighting for something in life and you're trying to accomplish something, like trying to live into the shoes of America's #1 money mentor, you have to do everything that everyone else is unwilling to do. And that's what I do every day. And I use a lot of tools to do it.
Awesome. And as far as you had mentioned, the first thing you do is you get on your knees and pray. Can you kind of tell us about, gratitude and what you're grateful for?
I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for the day that my mother put her house on the line, even though she had nothing, so that I could chase my dream of that shop. I'm grateful that somewhere, somehow, I decided that I was not going to quit on anything in my life, and failure was just a learning lesson. So I'm grateful for every single person. I'm grateful for you and every person that we're speaking to right now, just for listening to me. And I'm grateful that I was given the gift to go out there and help people change their money situation.
Awesome. Yeah, very well said. And then finally, you had mentioned that you have some giveaways, and also how do we get in contact with you?
Best way to get in contact with me is you just go to my website, chrisnaugle.com. All the free videos there, everything you want to talk to me. All you got to do, there's a gateway to talk to me. There's a 90-minute video you got to watch first. And if you're not willing to spend 90 minutes to learn something that will change your life, then I don't have 90 minutes for you. But once you watch the 90-minute video, you can schedule a call with me. But let me give your audience 2 books, okay? The Private Money Guide is Solutions to Finding Money, Where to Go, and How Not to Ask. I wrote this book many years ago. You can get this book for free. Just go to chrisnaugle.com. One swipe of your index finger, the big thing says free book. Grab the book. And if you want to know more about the privatized banking, the infinite banking concept, our book, me and Brent Kessler wrote, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. This book is phenomenal, and it will teach you all those strategies on how that works. So that's how you get a hold of me. That's how you learn from me. And the rest is up to you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, Chris, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Like I said, a lot of fun in this interview. Learned a lot, like I said, uncovering stuff that is not out there in the mainstream, and now we need to put it out mainstream. Chris is a giver. He'll be able to, like I said, go to his website, get some more information, learn the systems. Everyone need to take it so we can get more control of our money. Chris, pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much. Continued success into 2021. All the best to you and the family, and look forward to connecting with you again soon.
It was my honor and privilege.
All right, take care, my friend.
Thank you.
Hey there, this is Dwaine Clarke, your host of the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing Show. I want to thank you again for tuning in and hope you're enjoying this valuable content. While I got you for a quick minute, I wanted to send you an invitation to join our growing investor community. It's called the Passive Investors Club. It's a group of like-minded individuals like you who are seeking financial freedom and to build true wealth through passive investing in commercial real estate. We take a totally different approach to investing that is opposite, that is pushed by the financial advisors and what we see in the mainstream media. We like to invest in real assets that we can touch and understand and that are not subject to the wild swings of the financial markets. We don't want to be part of the herd who pursues the traditional route, leaving our financial future to Wall Street. So if you're interested in joining our group and to sharing resources and opportunities, then go to passiveinvestorsclub.com/join. Joining the club is completely free and there's no obligation. And all our members receive our free Passive Investors course along with tons of resources and content. So again, passiveinvestorsclub.com/join.